Welcome, everybody, to this edition of Intuit Academy and Apps.com webinar, Apps to Help You Manage and Organize Financial Documents. Essentially, it's a document management webinar. We'll talk about all the different areas of document management that are important to me as a consultant and that I would like to share with you. And in our main area of focus here will be on the specific apps, Neat Cloud, Bill.com, and Hubdoc. So first, a little bit about me. My name is Hector Garcia. I'm a CPA. I work and live in Miami, Florida. I'm an advanced QuickBooks Pro advisor. I teach QuickBooks and Excel in my own classroom down here. I'm also a member of the Trainer Writer Network, which is the reason why I was invited to do these webinars for Intuit. And my main blog is right there on the screen, and I'm a co-presenter for QB Power Hour. I was a guest speaker of QB Connect last year, and the very last slide, we'll talk about QB Connect this year, something really exciting to talk about. All right, so the learning objectives are after attending this course, should be able to navigate the apps.com website. We'll actually do a really quick run through at the end of the apps.com website and go in depth in the functionality of these specific document management apps. So understand what they do, how they do it, and how they save time, right? Save time for you for your practice, if you happen to be an accountant, for you for your small business, if you happen to be a bookkeeper or a small business, or for your clients if you're providing that service as a consultant or accountant. And start identifying the type of businesses that would benefit from any of these particular apps, or maybe a combination of these apps, and how they integrate with QuickBooks Online. And think about the workflow of your current clients and your current businesses, the current workflow they have, and how that would match hand in hand with the workflow of these applications. All right. So we did another webinar that is right there on YouTube on introduction to apps for QuickBooks Online. So if you're brand new to QuickBooks Online or brand new to the concept of integrated apps, I strongly recommend you look into that webinar. That webinar uh, explains sort of how the ecosystem works and the value of connecting third-party applications and the value of having your QuickBooks data synced with other systems, and what will be the purpose of that. So check out that webinar. That would be very useful, and that's recorded in YouTube. So let's start with explaining some of the basics here. What's an app? Okay, so in the context of QuickBooks, an app is an application designed to perform a function that QuickBooks is not necessarily designed to do. So it wasn't originally programmed to do so, and a third-party programmer decides, you know what, we're going to go ahead and come up with a solution to this. In some cases, the apps do very similar things as QuickBooks. So there will be a section that you will see where we'll do an invoice, for example, in Bill.com, and it'll just feel like that's something I can do in QuickBooks, and it's just it seems like it's a repetitive task. The apps themselves tend to specialize on transactions that are not necessarily related to core accounting functions. But the common denominator would be customer names, customer invoices, invoice amounts, employee names, vendor names. So it just makes sense to sync the data. Some apps are platforms by themselves. Bill.com would be one of them. It's a platform that actually connects to other apps on top of QuickBooks connecting to apps. So that's also a very interesting thing. The reason why we look for apps is because Intuit probably or it's not in their veins to solve every problem of every small business out there. Therefore, we look into third party developers to create specific functions that are connected to a particular industry or a particular activity. There's micro needs in the small business world, and there's very specific things. So what these developers allow to do is allow Intuit to focus on making one strong platform. Intuit QuickBooks Online platform, make one strong platform that connects to these systems, and then allowing Intuit to focus on just the accounting piece, and then allowing the third-party developers to go deeper and deeper into partial accounting and then non-accounting tasks. Okay, so the apps that will be featured today will be Neat. Neat Cloud is actually is the exact name of it. Bill.com and Hubdoc. So first, before we jump into the apps, let's talk about why document management. So document management is the function or activity of archiving, indexing, organizing all the documentation you receive either by paper or digitally. Document management is not only the physical paper we get, it's also the numerous amounts of PDF and documents we get via email or via Dropbox or via other shared websites that share documents. So it's not just paper documents, it's both. And also, document management is not the same as paperless. Paperless is the concept that the business can function without the need of a physical paper. And all this documentation is stored in a screen somewhere. So document management is not paperless. Document management is the system that we use to be able to move from paper into digital. Now, it's not possible in today's world to be 100% paperless, or I don't see it possible, because some of your customers, some of your vendors will still want to use paper. And unless your entire internal system ecosystem in your business, your internal vendor base, customer base, it's paperless, then it will be very difficult to do so. So at some point in time, there will be a use of paper at some point, right? And even if there isn't paper, even if you are paperless, you still have to manage the enormous amounts of documentation that is being transferred. So the question is, why use a third party app for document management? So QuickBooks can attach documents to the transactions, right? We hope you know that. If you don't, it's a great thing that QuickBooks Online has. You can attach any documents to any transactions. However, you can't really search the system to find out a particular document. You can't search through documents. You have to go to the transaction itself to be able to pull the document. So that's a particular thing about it, is QuickBooks is inherently not a document management system. Also, you may want to integrate other systems to generate documents. So, for example, I have a special network scanner that can automatically upload things to the cloud, and we're going to show you an example of one of these apps and how that works. Or maybe I have banks producing documentation already. Banks produce bank statements. Banks produce check images, deposit images. Where are these documents, and how are they being integrated into your document management system? We have physical receipts given to us that we scan with phones, and we get documents via email. So the nice thing about using a third party app is some of these apps touch and connect with other systems and are able to bring that data in. Now, before we jump into in-depth comparison of every one of these apps, let's talk about what they have in common. So one of the things that all three of them have in common is they have some sort of character recognition device built in. That means that when you bring in the document, whether it's a bill or receipt, the system makes the best effort to actually read some of the information: amount, vendor name, due date, things like that, because it is trying to help you do the work faster. They all organize the documents in by folder, by vendor name. They all have a way of organizing it, and they all have searchable capabilities. So I can search within the documents that are in there. Um, all of these have a mobile site or a mobile app used to collect documents. This is so common that people expect to use their phone to take pictures or receipts to bring them in. And they all have an inbox email address to forward documents to. So if you get an email with an invoice, all three of these have a pseudo email that you can forward the stuff to, and it automatically goes into each of them. Now, what's unique about them? So we talked about what they have in common. Let's talk about what's unique and what makes them particularly different. In the sense of Neat, Neat is known in the world for building scanners and for being into this, organize your life, organize your paperwork sort of mantra. So they've done a really good job marketing and penetrating smaller businesses and the home office market with these beautiful white scanners that came out maybe 6 or 7 years ago. I don't remember exactly when they came out, but there's a lot of Neat scanners out there. So working with Neat Cloud, it's particularly unique because it's compatible with all their scanners. So their scanners will send the information and sync automatically with Neat. Whereas if you don't have a Neat scanner, you would scan it, put it on the computer, and then upload it, which is not a big deal. But I found that to be a very particular value proposition. It also can do non-accounting data like scanning your business cards and syncing it with LinkedIn to find the contacts in LinkedIn. Very interesting things like that. Now, on to Bill.com. Bill.com is actually not inherently a document management app. It's a payment approval system and a payment management system. Bill.com, it's known and they have tons of clients. I think the last marketing material I saw from Bill.com, they have about 500,000 clients. They have tons of clients, and what it's really used for is to not just manage the document, like the bill from the vendor, but also go through the process of approving it, paying it, and doing the entire workflow of that document. So it's not just that managing the document itself, is all the actions that connect to that document. A perfect example with bills. And with receivables, it's also a receivable management system, helps you collect payments from customers and so forth. Now, Hubdoc has a very unique value proposition. What I think is different than any, definitely different than these two. I'm probably the only one or one of the only ones in the marketplace that have this specific thing that I thought I was completely wowed by it. It's called content aggregation. Basically, what it does is, and Hubdoc has been developing links with vendors and banks, and what it does is once you connect it to the bank, just like you would connect QuickBooks to your online banking, you connect it to the bank, and every single document that that bank generates, bank statements, check images, deposit images, CSV versions of the bank statements, automatically behind the scenes get uploaded to Hubdoc, and you don't have to log into the bank to pull this information. It's all stored in Hubdoc. And what's really cool about it is, let's say you go through 6-7 years of using this data, the bank is not going to give you access to that information anymore. It will permanently be in Hubdoc. So I thought that was a very cool feature, and I will show you how that works in one of the examples. Okay, so let's jump into Neat. So we're going to exclusively talk about the Neat app. In a nutshell, it's a simple to use and simple to learn cloud-based document management system. It has receipt data extraction to avoid some of the data entry, right? But it's got to be clearly readable, of course. It's got a simple expense reporting application built in. We did another webinar on expense management, and things like billable expenses and expense reports, that type of stuff is not what these apps are for. There's other apps that do that. This is more for managing the documents, and it has a smartphone app that can capture the data, take a picture of the receipts, and so forth. So you can capture the data from a smartphone, from a tablet. You can manually upload it from your computer, or you can use one of their Wi-Fi network scanners, where literally it doesn't have to be connected to a computer. You just scan it, press a button, and it goes straight into the cloud. There are 5 ways to get your docs captured in Neat. One is they have a really cool concierge service where you basically take all your documents, put them in a box, mail them somewhere, wherever Neat happens to be, and then their staff actually grabs the paperwork, scans it for you, and puts it into the cloud for you. So it's a subcontracted, like a scanning service. You can do email forwarding, which I alluded to earlier, where basically you get a document via email and you just forward it to a special email address that Neat will give you, and it goes straight into that portion. You can take a picture from the mobile app. You can manually upload, and as I mentioned earlier, you can sync with your desktop version of Neat or the Wi-Fi scanner. Now, when you log into Neat, you go into the settings. They're going to assign an email to you. This is the forwarding email address that they assign to my account, for example. So don't send me documents. uh, so you're going to have your own email address in there, and then basically everything you get that's PDF, JPEG, it actually specifies in there. You basically forward it, and it comes into your inbox. And then just kind of give you an example of what that looked like. So I received this email from Soho, one of the service providers. I used that email, I forwarded it, and it jumped and it went straight into my mailbox. So it's kind of showing you how that happened. We can use the smartphone app to take a picture of receipts. This is a screenshot from my smartphone app. So you take a screenshot of it. If it's skewed, you can organize the angle so the system learns how to read it better. The more readability, the straighter it is, the less crumbled the receipt is, the more likely that the system can actually pick up the vendor's name and the total amounts and so forth. Then this is what Neat looks like once you take that picture that we scanned and uploaded it with the app. You still have to go into the system and say, well, this is my vendor, and it all syncs with QuickBooks Online. So you would have to pick your vendor from your QuickBooks Online vendor list or create a new vendor, as you can see there. And you would have to choose the expense category. Now, the thing about Neat is your actual QuickBooks chart of accounts doesn't show here. So you would have your own categories in Neat that you have to map into QuickBooks Online. It's not really a big deal, but they just use different category names or potentially use different category names. And then what's really cool about it is once I finish choosing, okay, this is the vendor's name, this is the category, I press the send button. It says little send button in the top left corner, and then it comes into QuickBooks. In this case, it came as an expense, right? So this wasn't a bill, this was just an expense. And you would go into Neat and tell it which is your default bank account for this. Now, unfortunately, if you have multiple bank accounts, there's no way for you to choose which bank account it's coming out from. So it will detect all debits coming from one specific account, all credits from one specific credit card account. So I'm sure they're working on that functionality that you can actually choose which bank it was paid from. So this is exactly what it looks like once it goes into QBO. But what I really like about this is, well, in the memo it tells you where it came from, right? So it came from Neat Cloud. That's very clear. That's good to know whether you enter an expense or it was actually pushed in by the system. But what I really love about it is the actual receipt itself, the actual image of the receipt, what have you. It's actually attached into the transaction. So you don't have to manually go back and find this image to attach it, or you don't have to necessarily have to go into Neat if what you're trying to achieve is looking at that image after you uploaded it. Okay, let me see. Oops, I went to the next slide. This is the last slide we're in. Okay. The other interesting thing about it is different document types. So, for example, once you bring in a document, you can actually tell Neat, because sometimes a receipt and a bill may look the same. There's a lot of receipts that come into regular 8.5 by 11 sheet, and there's no way for the system to know, well, this was supposed to be a bill, this is supposed to be a receipt. So by selecting the category, you program Neat to do different actions with it. So we tell Neat, look, if it's a bill, upload to QuickBooks as a bill, of course, right, as a payable. If it's a receipt, in this case, or a check, upload it as an expense transaction or a check. So it's important for you to choose the category itself, or the document type, so it actually knows what to do with the transaction. The send to QuickBooks button is kind of hidden on the top left. So if you're doing a demonstration, one of the things that I was frustrated with when I first used the software was that send to QuickBooks button wasn't obvious. It says send, and then you have to press it, and the little window comes up, and it says QuickBooks. So just kind of be aware of that button is sitting in there. And then once you send it to QuickBooks, you get a little box that says send to QuickBooks. Then all the different boxes that you can change in Neat before it gets transferred, they get locked, right? Because it says, you know what, it's already connected to your system. The invoice number, the category number, or the category name, that's all based on what you uploaded into QuickBooks. And if you need to make changes to it, then you would do it in QuickBooks. In QuickBooks Online itself. And this is just from their website. I took a quick screenshot of their Concierge Scanning service. So this would be beyond the actual app itself. This would be, you would pay per I guess you pay per box. I never really used it, but I guess you put it all in a box, and as long as it's no more than 500 pages, you pay $89. They'll scan it for you. I don't know what the turnaround time looks like, so I apologize. I can't give you that quick answer. Maybe one of the people here in the webinar can. But I found this very unique about it because obviously the other systems are just apps, and this is a combination between an app and a service at this point. And then whether you have the Neat desktop scanner, which is the picture on the left side, the first edition of their Neat scanners, they were white, they didn't have a screen on them. I'm pretty sure most people here in this webinar have seen them because they're all over the place. And that has proprietary document management software called, in this case, Neat 5.5. I think is the most recent one. This is the one screenshot from my personal home computer, and then you can actually sync it, and the syncing goes to Neat Cloud. So if you're already working with Neat scanners and you're working with the Neat scanner software, the Neat Cloud is basically an easy sync process. And some of the newer scanners, like the Neat Connect, is actually a Wi-Fi scanner, so you don't need to install any software anywhere. And when you scan it, it goes straight into the cloud. So I thought that was really interesting and innovative because most people get lazy about scanning, really for the most part, because of the time it takes for you to scan it, put it in the computer, and that sort of thing. So I think skipping that step helps people at least get over that hump. And then there's a website, neat.com/Intuit. I went into it today. There's an expiration date and some sort of offer, but if they update it, check it out. Usually there are special offers for QuickBooks Pro advisors and Intuit accountants. So if there's an update to that link, I'll push it on the chat. Okay, I'm gonna take a quick break here to take any questions. So I'll ask my fellow organizers here. Are there any questions in the chat? Anything that needs to be answered that you think?
Yeah, there's a question about would the Neat desktop be able to scan and send the documents, or does it work only with the cloud version?
So let me go back to this because it's in this screen. Neat has three products. They have their sort of mobile scanner. I forget what the exact name is. They have their mobile scanner that's really, really small, really compact, right? They have their traditional scanner, which is the one in the middle and the bottom. This is the one that came out maybe 7 years ago or maybe 8 years ago. I don't remember the exact timing. And then we have the Neat Connect. So the first two that I noticed that I shown, they have a desktop document management system that's very big, and it encompasses a lot of resources of the computer, and everything you scan gets attached in it. Once you turn on the Neat Cloud service, which is what I was talking about, I wasn't talking about the scanner. I was not presenting the scanner or anything else. I was presenting the app itself, the web application. And once you turn on the Neat Cloud service, you would turn on the sync feature, and everything that's already in your desktop software or any new things that you put in there are now going to be synced. So you will have a copy on your desktop software, and you'll have a copy on your cloud software, and so I'm not sure what they meant by is it sendable, but I think that may have answered the question. What do you think? Any other questions?
No other questions. So presume if you just have the desktop scanner and the desktop software, can you still send it to QuickBooks Online?
No. Oh, what that's another question altogether. I see what you're saying. So as far as I know, the answer is no. I do know that the QuickBooks, I know the Neat desktop software can send something to QuickBooks Desktop, but in this case, I don't think that the desktop software has a QuickBooks Online capability. You have to have the cloud service, right, which is the cloud app. So you have to sync it to the cloud, and then the cloud will send it to QuickBooks Online. So as of now, I'm pretty positive that it cannot. And if I'm told otherwise in the middle of this webinar or something, I will go ahead and say that. But I know that the Neat Desktop communicates with the QuickBooks Windows desktop. I know it does communicate in one way or the other. I'm not sure
Mhm.
exactly how it communicates, but because I haven't used it that way, but I know it does communicate and it can transfer information from Neat Desktop to QuickBooks Desktop. But QuickBooks Online will require the cloud service.
That's
Okay.
good to know.
Okay, so the CPE question, the CPE answer, or the CPE keyword, it's been up in the screen for about a minute or so. We're gonna give it about one more minute. So make sure you write this down, Moose. Write this down, Moose. Later on, towards the end of the webinar, we're gonna have a question on that. So we'll give it maybe about 30 more seconds. Are there any more? I saw some questions popped in. Have you been able to read any of the other questions?
There's one more. Can you scan and send your images to another file sharing network like OneDrive or Dropbox or something?
I'm not sure if the question asked if I can scan from if they're talking about the scanner itself or if they're talking about the Neat Cloud program. Let me open up Neat Cloud here real
Can
quick just to show you. So this is what Neat Cloud looks like. I'm gonna log in with my Intuit account because it's all synced with QuickBooks Online. So I'm gonna pull it up here and be able to maybe I'll answer that question with an example. So if I'm looking at a particular document, so this is the document that I'm looking at that happens to be in my cloud version of Neat, right? In my Neat cloud. So if I wanted what I can do with this document, this happens to be an invoice I received here from one of my vendors. So if I want to do something with this document, my options are to email it to myself in this case, download it, or in this case, I'll click send it to QuickBooks. So if there was a capability for you to send it to Dropbox or OneDrive, it would probably be here under send and it would be on the drop down. So as far as I know, Neat doesn't have that. When I went into the settings page here, there was nothing alluding to connecting to that. So you can, these are the apps that you can activate with it. Outlook, Google Contacts. So there's nothing here talks about Google Drive. So I would say for the time being, I could the answer to that is no. But if again, I will correct myself, put a comment on the YouTube recording or something like that if it happened to learn otherwise. So the definite answer for now is no. You can't send it to another Dropbox or something like that. Other than being able to email it, I think Dropbox and Google Drive allow you to email documents to to there and it puts it automatically. But other than emailing it, that would be it. Okay, I'm gonna jump into. Let me just make sure that we have the CP keyword up there for a couple of seconds or so. So write it down, Moose, and then we'll go to the next one. Okay, Hubdoc. So I mentioned earlier about this whole concept of document aggregation, and it's funny. I'll say this comment. I went through life not knowing the concept of document aggregation, and ignorance is bliss, right? I had no clue that there was somebody out there developing this particular technology. So Hubdoc will connect to your banks once, right? Connect to Bank of America, whatever it is, right? And within a couple of hours, you will have all the bank statements available, like 24 months worth, all the check images, all the deposit images. Obviously, this is your own bank, but imagine if you had all your clients, assuming you're an accounting professional, if you had all your clients with all their bank documents, all the credit card documents automatically stored. They don't have to press anything, just sync it once, and all the images, how much drama would go away from your life as an accountant, because asking for documents is such a pain, in the what. So being able to automatically get these documents is awesome. There's also the ability to automate the process of getting these documents into QuickBooks somehow. So if you are capturing data with the Hubdoc app and the phone and you take a picture of a receipt, or you're uploading a bill, or you're syncing it with bill.com, which you may very well can. So you can actually receive a bill into Hubdoc, sync it with bill.com, which we'll talk about bill.com towards the end here, and then Bill.com would manage the payment process. So it's kind of cool how these apps are actually talking to each other beyond QuickBooks. And Hubdoc has a integration with Box.net. So the other question about Neat earlier is, can I use Box.net, OneDrive, Dropbox, Google Drive, any of these other document management systems? Can I integrate them together? So with Neat, the answer is no. With Hubdoc, only Box.net is it's something you can integrate. So you can work off the page itself. You can work on the Apple products, on a tablet or on an iPhone, and on the Android products as well. So this is what the homepage looks like. And basically, to your left, you see all the folders of all the vendors are connected. So if you can see through here, we have Facebook connected. So basically any bill that Facebook sends to us automatically comes in here. I have MailChimp, I have LogMeIn. So these are the vendors that we connect from the perspective of receiving their bills. Hubdoc is still at its heart a bill management system for sure. You can upload any sort of documents, but it's a financial management system. So the purpose is to connect the banks, connect the vendors that talk to Hubdoc. That way you don't have to receive the bill by paper. You don't have to receive it by email. It automatically syncs in there, and it automatically can be set up to be sent to QuickBooks or to be sent to Bill.com in this purpose. So this is what the account connection screen looks like. So this is how you will start connecting it. And this is very similar to the way you would connect QuickBooks Online bank accounts, right? You select the bank, you put a username and a password, and the information just starts coming in there. This is an example of a vendor. This is a vendor that's been connected with Hubdoc. I did not upload the Comcast document up there. I did not take a picture of it with my app. I did not forward it from an email. I simply put the username and password to my Comcast account, and Hubdoc grabbed the bill automatically.
Hey,
Stored it.
Hector,
Yes,
Hector,
yes.
you're kind of breaking up a little bit. I don't know. Um, it's kind of got a little choppy, just so you know.
Huh. Um, okay, let me. I'll go a little bit slower just in case, because I really can't do much at this point. Don't know what's
Okay.
maybe something wrong with my internet. So,
Yeah, it
um,
could be internet connection.
so what I was saying earlier is this specific Comcast bill. I did not upload it. I did not take a picture of it. I actually connected my Comcast account to Hubdoc, and Hubdoc logged into Comcast themselves and downloaded the bill for you. Now, you could choose what you want to do with something like this, right? You could tell it just store the document, or you can say convert it to a bill automatically. So you actually have the choice on what you would do with this bill itself. This automatic downloading, one of the things that I thought it was really cool is PayPal as well. Downloads the CSV file of the monthly transactions, the summary statement, detailed transaction statements, and every single transaction in detail. And I'll show you that. I'm going to jump into the the app itself so I can show you that live. So let me sign into Hubdoc there. And this is my own account that I have connected to Hubdoc here. So I kind of want to show you, I have tons of things in here connected. For example, here on the left side, we can see Amazon. If I click on Amazon, I'm going to click on my account here. I have every single Amazon transaction, every single purchase that I did through Amazon automatically copied from Hubdoc. So, for example, I'm going to click on any one of these at random. I'll click on this, and this is actually what I bought, right? The details of that transaction. So, what you would normally print, you would go to Amazon.com and you would print this or PDF this, or maybe get an email with it. I didn't have to do anything. It automatically came in here. All I had to do is put my username and password for Amazon, and every single one of my Amazon purchases are automatically here. So I don't have to do anything in terms of actually uploading this or anything like that. American Express, same thing. Connected my American Express account, and it downloaded, in this case, the last 6 months of the PDF statements, and it also downloaded some of the letters. So any physical PDF document that's available for you to download on your website comes into Hubdoc automatically. So and I don't have to press a button. I don't have to forward anything. It's connected and it just works. The other thing I'll show you here is, for example, with bank accounts. So these are the check images connected to my bank account. So I can just go through here. These are the actual checks that we wrote. Again, I did not have to download them. I did not have to email them. I did not have to forward them. I just connected the bank to Hubdoc, and Hubdoc downloaded all those images for me. Let's see if I got any deposit images to show you right here. So deposit image here, same thing, right? So deposit image comes in, and even better, every single detail, not just the deposit image, but every single detail. The other thing I really like about it is automatically downloads and it stores for you a CSV version of your bank statement. So if you ever need to pull it in Excel and take a look at it now, I know a lot of people are thinking, hey, that's not a big deal. I can log into my bank and download that manually. And the answer is yes, absolutely, you can. But I have here 8 bank accounts connected, and I can pull any bank statement, any CSV file, any deposit, and any check images from any of my 8 or 9 bank accounts that are there. Imagine that times 100 customers and being able to pull that data on demand without having to know your customer's username and password, because they would enter that themselves. They would just invite you as a user. So for example, Google AdWords, this is a Google AdWords. So this is my bill for Google AdWords. It comes in here automatically. PayPal, I should like to show you PayPal. PayPal is really, really cool. So every single detailed statement for every month of PayPal comes in here as a PDF. This is something that I would, again, manually pull into PayPal. I can also look at the transactions. Every single PayPal purchase or PayPal deposit or PayPal payment, every single one is automatically downloaded here. So this is the comment I made earlier is, I went through life thinking that in order for you to get this stuff, you have to go in the bank, download it, and then upload it to some sort of document management system. So I think Hubdoc is up to something really, really major with this concept of document aggregation. So this is just kind of a screenshot of a check images and a check deposit. I had it on the PowerPoint as well, just in case. So I showed you all these things, PayPal transaction detail. Oh, this is really neat too. Because in my particular case, I log into my Chase account. I have like 9 accounts in there. I have, 3 personal, 4 business, and that sort of thing. You can actually, once you log in, because it's based on the login. So once you log in, it connects all the accounts. But then I can say, you know what? I don't want to see this account. I don't want to see that account. That's personal. And this is particularly good if you're sharing, if a customer of yours is sharing with you as the accountant, and they only want you to see certain accounts. So this is where you would do that. I want to show you. This is a manual upload of a bill into Hubdoc. So I think it's better to show with the demonstration. So I can, up here where it says add a receipt, this is the button all the way in the top. I'll click on add a receipt, and basically it's telling you here on the right, listen, you can do this with your phone if you want to. Or let's say I'm not going to do it with that. And then down here, it gives me that special email address that anything that I get through email, I just forward to that email address and it comes into Hubdoc. But I'll just kind of show you how I'll upload something manually. So I'm going to click here on a bill, and I'll click open. And you would just wait for the document to upload. And then once it's finished uploading, we can just, at this point, we can just close. And then it will take sometimes it will take some time, particularly because Hubdoc is actually trying to read all the details from here. So it's trying to figure out, who the vendor is, what the amount is, and then afterwards we can do different things with this, right? We can just leave it up there, and that could be something that we leave up there, or we can set it up to automate. So I'm going to show you how the automation feature works, and I'm going to come in here and go into, I think it's destinations, no, not destinations. There's one particular place where we set up all the automatic stuff. So let me go into, for example, I'm going to go into Google AdWords, and I'm going to tell it what I want to do with these transactions. So basically, I have my Google AdWords account connected. Every time I get a new bill from it, I get to tell it if I want to automate it. Right now, this is not set up to automate. This is simply set up to download the bill and put it in the system. But if I select this option here that says send to QBO, I will tell it, listen, every time I get a bill from AdWords, go ahead and make it a purchase because it's being paid automatically, so it's not really a bill. And then I'll choose which one of my expense accounts it happens to be, and who are my vendors it happens to be, and how I paid and which account I paid from. And this is really neat because you tell it which account you're paying from. That way I'll start really understanding where all this money is coming from, and avoid duplicating any information. That's one way to automate. In this case, I'll select here. So that's one way to automate. So you can also automate with a bill. So I'm going to jump in here and show you what that looks like. So once you upload a bill or you automate a bill, whatever the bill looks like, once it's in Hubdoc, like this one is a Salesforce bill, the system will automatically go into QuickBooks Online, push the bill in there, and then down there in the attachment sections, it will actually upload a digital copy of that bill. So that's the same thing as Neat. It would do that as well, and it will put in the memo Hubdoc to remind you that that's how it came from. The smartphone app, it's used for you to take pictures of receipts or documents. So you technically don't need a scanner. As long as you have good lighting, you can do most of your scanning, quote unquote, through taking a picture of the document. For example, I took a picture of this document that you see is all bended in there, and then that was uploaded from the app. And then at that point, I get to choose what I want to do with it. Something that Hubdoc doesn't have now, but they're developing, and it should be out. I believe it was next month. I spoke to one of the developers in Hubdoc. Right now, you only have the ability to automate it. So when the bill comes in, automatically do something with it. Now, when this new update, you're actually going to be able to push this information on demand. So you want to say, you know what, this bill I want to send to QBO, but maybe this other bill I don't want to. So that section is, I mean, that feature is going to be added shortly. And once it's uploaded, like in this case, I actually uploaded this one. And there's an example of how this picture, the picture of the bill itself, came into the attachment sections when it uploaded to QBO. Hubdoc is going to be $20 per business account, basically per user per company, aggregating information. So if you sign up any customers, they're going to pay $20 a month. Hubdoc has an offer for QuickBooks Pro advisors. So if you sign up for a trial, there's the link right there. And after you signed up a trial, you send an email to support@hubdoc.com. Just mention that you're a pro advisor and you were in this webinar, and they'll convert your account to a free account. Free account. I don't know if it's for a year or forever, because it didn't say it's for a year. I'm going to assume it's forever. So it's a free account. And the idea is that you manage your own documents through here. And hopefully, once you see the value, you sign up your clients, and your clients will have to pay the $20 or whatever it happens to be. I think we're going to have some questions. Are there some questions?
Yeah, Hector. So one question is, how does Hubdoc work if I have multiple clients? Would each client need a Hubdoc account?
Correct. So you would get your own account. Let's say you're an accountant. You have your own account, which is free, right? Because you're gonna sign up and you're gonna request it, and Hubdoc's gonna do it. And then each account, each customer client itself would have to have their own account. And the reason for that is because each your customer can access this information, and they can do their own document management system, right? All you want as the accountant is to access the bank statements and the checks and stuff like that. But yes, it's an account for each of your customers. And
And
Jamie Schulman from Hubdoc confirmed that yes, it's free forever. So what I said earlier.
and then one other question: can you share a folder with a client in Hubdoc?
So I assume that the nature of the question is I'm gonna have my own folder where I'm aggregating, or I'm saving my own documents. Let's say all my reconciliations and profit and loss balance sheet, and then I want that folder to be shared just with my Hubdoc client. So the answer that I'm gonna give, because I haven't tried it, the answer I'm gonna give is no. So if the Hubdoc rep that's in the webinar tells me otherwise, I will retract it. But the answer is no. It's the client has their own Hubdoc account, and then they share the entire contents of that Hubdoc account with you. But you don't specifically have your own folder that you share to them. However, there is a way for you to add a user. All right, so you can add a user like another bookkeeper or an accountant, but there is no way to share a specific folder in the folder level, and that's been confirmed. So you cannot do it. And maybe this is food for thought. If Hubdoc's developers are in the line, obviously this is a needed thing because somebody commented. Just to quickly compare the two, so with Neat and Hubdoc, they're very similar because of what they achieve. But I think where you really see them different is, with Neat has that really neat scanner integration with their scanners, and Hubdoc has the document aggregation. And I'm only comparing these two. I'm not comparing Bill.com, which I'll do next, because Bill.com is not really comparable to any of these. The only two that are true document management systems are these two. Bill.com is actually, it goes a little bit beyond that. But was there another question before I move forward?
Yeah, just two things. One, can you post the HubDoc link again? And then Jamie said that you can share the account between the advisor and the client, but not at a specific folder by folder level.
Right. I think that's what I mentioned. I mentioned that. I read that. I read that from him. So I'm gonna put. I'm gonna copy here the link itself and put it on the chat window. That way we can have it there in the chat window, and there it is. It's been posted for the audience. So that you just go to hubdoc.com and sign up. You actually don't need to have that specific link. If you go to hubdoc.com and sign up, set up a free trial, just make sure you email support@hubdoc.com. Let them know, hey, I'm a pro advisor. I'm a QuickBooks accountant. I want a free account, and you have that free account forever, right? So Hubdoc really, what they really want is for the advisor to love their account and really understand the value, and then have their customers pay the $20 a month. But as you have more customers, you add more clients, the cost per client goes down, right? So it goes down to 18, 16, 14. So it is possible that you can enter into partner pricing if you're going to have a lot of customers being added in there. Was there another customer, or can I jump into Bill.com?
I think there's questions, but I think Jamie can and we can answer them offline.
Okay,
Yeah, so
perfect.
you can keep going.
Great. Okay. So Bill.com and Bill.com is it's an app that doesn't need a lot of introduction. It's probably one of the most mature apps in the app marketplace. Extremely active in the accounting community and letting people know what it is, and very very popular. There's very little amount of people that said Bill.com didn't work for me, or they don't lose a lot of clients. That's why they've grown so fast. But Bill.com, although it was themed in the document management webinar, is not inherently a document management system. Bill.com is a payable and receivable management system. The thing is that most payable actions start from the bill itself, from the paper bill, or from the PDF bill we got on the email. So because the document itself is the one that starts the paying process. We included Bill.com in this document management webinar, although Bill.com is much more than that. It's more of a payable and receivable management system, and it works with QuickBooks Online and Desktop, where Neat Cloud and Hubdoc, they're only QuickBooks Online as far as I'm concerned. But Bill.com originally started as a QuickBooks Desktop add-on, not a QBO add-on. That kind of came in after the fact. So kind of give you an idea, with Bill.com, you can upload a bill. This is one of the most basic functions, is you upload a bill, or you can have your own email address in Bill.com where you can forward the bill to. So these are the two options. You can also take a picture of the bill with your phone and send it over. So it works the same way as the other apps from that perspective. Once the bill comes in, you actually tell Bill.com if this is an attachment, like an additional document to an existing bill, right? That way it doesn't create a new payable. You can tell it, you know what, this is an actual new bill. This is a new bill, something I have to pay, or this is just a document for reference. So this is where you get to choose what these documents are used for. The slide here. Okay, so once you upload the bill, it shows you obviously a preview on the PDF preview on the screen. This is where you get to choose, well, what's the name of my vendor, and that drop down list, it's my actual QuickBooks Online vendor list that is synced, and I can also create a new vendor on the fly in that perspective. The expense categories themselves, they do come from QuickBooks Online. They do come from QuickBooks. So it's your actual QuickBooks chart of accounts, which I like. That way, there's no confusion between, it's in Neat. Neat is called one thing, but it's mapped to maybe something else that is called in QuickBooks Online. So I much prefer having my actual real chart of accounts in there, so I can choose my category. Then the next step is to approve the bill. So with Bill.com inherently is designed for you to put the bill, somebody else that has the power to do so or the responsibility to do so, approve it, and then maybe that person that approves it pays it, or maybe some other person pays it. But Bill.com inherently, this is the bread and butter of what Bill.com does: is put a bill, somebody else approves it, and at that point maybe it gets paid or maybe it doesn't get paid. You can program Bill.com to pay electronically, so you can set it up with your bank to make those payments, and that's really what most people use it for. Um, this is what the phone app looks like, and you can also approve bills from the phone app. And I found that this is cool, and this app came out recently. Actually, if I'm not wrong, it came out like less than weeks ago. And it's really neat because you're on the fly. You're a CEO, you're a CFO, you're a business manager. You have all the employees inputting bills in there, and you get to see it from here. You get to preview it, and you get to approve it or you get to decline it, all from the app. And then at that point, the Bill.com user would pay it, right? So you don't so you get those layers of responsibility that are really cool. And that's what the bill looks like when it comes into QuickBooks Online. One thing I don't like, especially by comparison, about the Bill.com bills, I couldn't figure out how to get the actual image of the bill to upload into QuickBooks in the attachment sections, like it did with Hubdoc and Neat. So I may be wrong, I may be doing something wrong, but or maybe just Bill.com doesn't have that capability of automatically uploading a copy of that document to the QuickBooks bill. But you can always go to Bill.com and pull it there, and that will be there forever. This is what the pay bills function looks like. So Bill.com can be used to pay electronically. It's possible. Or if you don't want to pay electronically, if you're still going to pay with checks, you can still use it to approve the bill and then send it to QuickBooks to batch it to print the check. Or if, for example, if you know this was paid in cash or on the road, or it was paid with some other method that is not being triggered through QuickBooks or through Bill.com, you can just manually mark it paid. And this is what the payment window looks like if you're manually marking something paid. So you can manage payables even without having to use the electronic payment system. This is what the payment itself looks like once it's synced to QuickBooks, and this is what the check to be printed looks like when it gets synced to be printed into QuickBooks. One of the really cool things about it, again, because payables is at the inherent root of what Bill.com does, is you get email reminders of all the bills that have to be paid and the ones that need to be approved before they get paid. And you can turn the reminders off, but I found it to be really pertinent if you're in the responsibility of paying bills and things like that. Bill.com also does receivables management, which basically shows you all the open bills. You can actually create invoices straight from Bill.com, which a lot of people are thinking, wait a second, why would I do it in Bill.com if I can do it through QuickBooks? Well, the key to this is, do you want people creating invoices without having them have access to QuickBooks? That's an interesting dynamic. I can have staff members that only have access to creating invoices in Bill.com, and I can have them involved in my finances without having them touch my QuickBooks file. That's a huge deal because in Bill.com is all about delegation of tasks and delegation of duties and responsibilities. So being able to separate that process, bills or invoices or payments of bills or receive payments of invoices, it gives it an interesting dynamic and allows you to delegate without having to let go or relinquish control over the entire books. Bill.com also has a portal, so you can receive payments through credit card or through ACH. You can do it automatically by the customer actually sending the payment for you, or you can actually charge the customer straight from the portal here. Now, one of the really cool things about Bill.com, especially before QuickBooks Online came out, was being able to create an invoice, send it to the customer via email, and then the customer will now create sort of a username and password into bill.com. And every time that you create a new bill, that you update a bill, that a bill's been paid, whatever, their portal is going to show all this information. So all of a sudden, you have a professional portal with your company name, your company logo, where people can pay you through it. So it looks like the company has the resources to build a payment portal or a customer center portal for the customers to add notes, pay bills and inquire bills and things like that. How much time do we spend, talking to people that said, hey, can you explain this bill to me? You haven't sent me the bill. This actually is really good for that. Also, in the portal itself, something that's a very interesting feature. I really like this. Let's say you have a landscaping company or a company that provides a service that's a fixed monthly fee, like a pest control or whatever, and the customer says, you know what, I don't want to push pay every time. I want Bill.com to automatically pay my vendor, which happens to be the QuickBooks user itself, the QuickBooks client, and you can automatically set it, and you can set up a maximum. So obviously the customer is not worried that you're going to post a bill for $1,000 that they didn't pre-authorize. So a lot of customers say, you know what, I'm completely okay with having Bill.com automatically pay your service for every $50 every 30 days or whatever. So that happens to be a really nice feature that I like. And then lastly, the document management portion of Bill.com is, everything you upload, everything you email to the specific address, you get to choose whether you want to make it a bill or you just want to make it a document that you're storing. Bill.com, it's free for pro advisors. This is huge, right? Bill.com, costs between $30 and $50 a month, depending on what you're doing with it. Sometimes even more, depending on the services that you're using with it. But pro advisors get a free 3-user account. So make sure you write down this link. I'm actually going to put this link up here. And then while I paste this link, I'm gonna go ahead and enable the CPE question. We got about 3 minutes until we finish, but I'm gonna enable the CPE question, and then I'm also going to um, post the link in the chat. And while the CPE question is up and I'm posting the link, are there any questions on Bill.com so far? Question for my Intuit team. So we're stopping.
None at this time. No question.
No questions. Okay. All right. So we have about 70% of the votes in on the CPE question. I posted the Bill.com link for QuickBooks Pro Advisors. That's the free account for Pro Advisors. So far we're two for 3 here. We have 3 apps that we showcase. 2 of them are completely 100% free, so there should be no reason why you don't sign up for them. And I'm going to cover the last piece, which is sort of my summary and my recommendations, and the last word here before we wrap this up. I know it's top of the hour, and some of you have to go and go to another webinar or whatever. So we have about 90% of the votes in. So we're going to go ahead and close the polling. For the people that are not looking at the screen, this is the last chance to put your CPE keyword. So last chance, going once, going twice. So, okay. So done with the CPE a keyword question. And the last thing I want to say here on Bill.com is a couple of things. Tips for brand new document management users. Consider if that your approach is to go paperless, but you really cannot go paperless, right? You're trying to reduce paper, right? So reducing paper is a great thing. Archiving your documents, organizing your documents. The first step to go paperless is going to be acquiring some sort of document management system. The other important thing is document management system could also work for financial and non-financial data. So think about, do I want the document management system only for audits and only for IRS and only for accounting, or do I want to mix non-financial data with it as well? So consider that before jumping into document management system, and consider the pros and cons of that system working with financial and non-financial data. You got to have an all or none mentality. You can't really pick and choose which ones you're going to scan, which ones you're not going to scan. That's extremely important. And invest in a good scanner. Forget about any scanners under $500, and not to discredit them. They're probably not designed for somebody that wants to truly go paperless, right? Because the minute it takes you 5 minutes to go through a scan, this is where the system kind of crumbles and you stop really being into the whole moving paperless document management mood. And the last piece is the consultant's opportunity. If you're an accountant, if you're a consultant, if you're working with different clients and you're helping them go through this process, think about the opportunities that we post here. So with Neat or Hubdoc, this will help you get your clients organized, help them build the discipline to store documents in a single place. Hubdoc, avoid the drama of having to actually get the statements, actually get the check images, actually get the bills, and have the system do it all for you automatically, especially during tax time. You will really appreciate that if you're busy during tax time. With Neat Cloud, leverage the branding of the strong branding element of Neat scanners. If you have a client that already has a Neat scanner and they love the Neat scanner, this is a great transition into getting their stuff online. It's not just about scanning them, it's scanning them, organizing them, and having it in a place that you can reference them. With Bill.com, help create approval layers, delegation layers, help people be more productive by getting them out of QuickBooks. There's so many people that have access to QuickBooks because they're putting invoices or they're putting bills, but they shouldn't have access to QuickBooks because they're not doing anything else beyond inputting a bill or an invoice. That's where Bill.com really, really comes into play. And then lastly, paperless, going paperless. Everybody wants it, right? Everybody is on top of everybody's mind, but it's very difficult to achieve. So think about the apps that are the gateway drug, right? I think these are great gateway drug. So last piece I'll talk about is, visit the apps.com website. If you haven't done so recently, they add new apps almost every day, and there's hundreds of apps, and you can really start seeing how QuickBooks Online evolves into something much more complex and robust once you start adding apps to it. So lastly, QuickBooks Connect. QuickBooks Connect this year in 2015 is going to be in San Jose, California, just like it was last year. It's going to be the biggest congregation of QuickBooks accountants, consultants, customers. If you went there last year, I know for a fact you're going to go this year because it was a blast. Sign up to be notified. QBCon2015.com, www.qbcon2015.com. Sign up and you'll get information about it when it comes out. And if there are any questions and comments, I'll answer them now. If not, then we can finish. So are there any more questions or comments?
One quick question was did you mention that Bill.com can provide cash forecasting? Could you
Yeah,
give any more details?
absolutely. So let me go into Bill.com here. Let me log in and show you with a demo. It's a lot easier to show you with a demo. That that was something that we mentioned, but wasn't part of the demonstration here. But let me pull up let me pull up the cash forecast here. And I may not have enough data on this one, but basically the way it works is if you're using Bill.com to its full design capability. I'm going to sign out and sign back into the demo account that has a lot more information here. I have a lot of customer information in my own personal Bill.com account, so I prefer not to have that one open. But cash forecasting, this is a great example here. So basically, if you're using Bill.com, the way it was designed to be used, all your bills, all your accounts payable are in there. And all your invoices, all your accounts receivable are in there. And Bill.com already has all the information about the money that you have to pay, including due dates and the money that you're thinking about receiving or that you're thinking that you're going to receive, which is all the invoices with their due dates. And then based on the cross of those due dates, the system will start calculating whether or not your working capital, which is your receivables minus your payables, right? Whether or not your trade receivable payment or receivables are running at a deficit. So it shows here that in the future, at some point in the future, I am going to have a deficit in cash flow because I'm going to pay more bills than payments I'm going to receive. And then I look in here somewhere in the future, it looks at finally at that point I'll have a positive cash flow because I'm going to receive more in invoices that I will pay. So hopefully do you think that answered the question about the cash flow forecast? Prash, whoever asked the question, do you feel that answered the question?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, yeah, it's a bit more in depth than that. Obviously, we're over time, but
Mm.
it's a bit more in depth than that. But in a nutshell, anything that's you're pending to receive in invoices and everything you're pending to pay in bills has a due date, right? And typically, if all those bills are paid on time and all the customers pay you on time, all those inflows and outflows cross in a future schedule, and the cash flow forecast actually makes that calculation for you to tell you whether it looks like in the next couple of weeks or so we're going to have a downward in cash flow because we're going to have more bills being paid than the invoices received. Any other questions or comments? Well, if not, we're a little bit overdue with time, so I really appreciate everybody taking an hour out of your busy schedule. Thank you very much, and tune in to the next apps.com and Intuit Academy webinar. Thank you.